Welcome back to my channel Liberty Old Coin Story that might just change the way you look at everyday things. Sometimes, the smallest, most overlooked objects carry the biggest surprises, quietly waiting for the right moment to reveal their hidden worth. First up, imagine opening an old drawer, the kind that hasn't been touched in years, filled with random bits of life, buttons, receipts, and loose change. Your fingers brush past a dull, slightly worn coin, one that doesn't shine or stand out. You almost ignore it, but something tells you to take a closer look. Next, you flip it over and notice the familiar portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, calm and timeless. It's an Australian 10-cent coin from 1979. At first glance, it seems ordinary, something millions of people once used without a second thought. But this is where the story begins to change. This coin was produced by the Royal Australian Mint during a time when Australia was continuing to modernize its decimal currency system, which had only been introduced in 1966. By 1979, these coins were already a part of everyday life, used in shops, buses, and markets across the country. The design itself carries meaning. The obverse features Queen Elizabeth II, symbolizing Australia's connection to the Commonwealth, while the reverse displays the iconic lyrebird, one of the most fascinating birds in the world, known for its ability to mimic almost any sound. This artistic choice reflects Australia's unique wildlife and identity. But what makes the 1979 version so interesting is not just its design, it's the story behind its survival. Millions were minted, yes, but only a small fraction remain today in truly collectible condition. Over time, coins like these were scratched, lost, melted, or simply forgotten. Now imagine that the coin you're holding has somehow escaped all of that. It hasn't been heavily circulated. Its details are still sharp. The feathers of the lyrebird are still visible, and the queen's portrait still carries definition. That's when its true potential begins to shine. Collectors around the world are always searching for coins that tell a story, and condition plays a massive role. A 1979 Australian 10-cent coin in near-perfect condition can suddenly transform from spare change into a sought-after collectible. What truly drives its value is rarity within quality. While many coins exist, very few exist in pristine or near-mint state. This creates demand, especially among serious collectors who are willing to pay significant amounts for the right piece. There are also certain rare variations and minting characteristics that can increase the value even further. Subtle differences in strike quality, alignment, or even slight minting errors can turn a simple coin into something extraordinary. And here, where things get exciting. In the collector's market, a high-grade 1979 Australian 10-cent coin has been known to reach impressive prices. Depending on its condition and uniqueness, it can climb into the hundreds of dollars. But in exceptional cases, coins that are almost flawless or have rare mint characteristics, the value can rise dramatically. Some collectors are willing to push the price as high as $1,000 or even more for a truly outstanding example. Think about that for a second. A coin that once bought small, everyday items could now be worth more than many modern gadgets. That's the power of history combined with rarity. And it's not just about money. Owning a coin like this means holding a piece of the past. It's a connection to 1979, to the people who used it, and to a time when physical currency played a central role in daily life. For collectors, each coin is like a time capsule, and the better its condition, the clearer that story becomes. That's why coins like the 1979 Australian 10-cent continue to gain attention year after year. So if you ever come across one, don't rush to spend it. Take a closer look. Examine the details. Check its condition, because what seems small and ordinary could actually be something rare and valuable. There's only one coin in this story, but its impact can be huge. One coin, one discovery, and one moment that could completely change how you see the value of everyday objects. In the end, the real question is whether this coin is valuable. It's whether you're paying close enough attention to recognize it when you find one. Because sometimes, the greatest treasures aren't hidden in vaults or museums. They're hiding in plain sight, waiting quietly in your own collection. Next coin, hold on to every 1980 Australian 10-cent coin you come across. The 1980 Australian 10-cent coin, featuring the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, is a piece of modern history that's slowly but surely turning into a small fortune. In this deep dive, I'll break down the past, present, and future value of this coin and show you exactly how high it can climb. We're not talking about pocket change anymore. The coin's grand debut. Let's start at the beginning. The Australian 10-cent coin was first introduced on the historic day of February 14, 1966, when Australia officially switched to decimal currency. This was a massive shift for the nation, moving from pounds, shillings, and pence to a system of dollars and cents. The coin you have in your hand is a direct descendant of that first release, a tangible piece of that transformation. The 1980 version was struck just 14 years after that monumental day, making it a relatively early member of the decimal family. The timeless lyrebird design. The artwork on the reverse side of your coin is a masterpiece. It features a stunning lyrebird scene facing left, with its magnificent tail plumes gracefully expanded forward over its head. The lyrebird is an Australian icon, famous for its incredible ability to mimic any sound it hears. This design was crafted by the legendary artist Stuart Devlin, whose initials, SD, are hidden in tiny letters near the bird's foot. This design is so perfect and beloved that it has remained unchanged on standard circulating 10-cent coins since 1966. It is the longest-running reverse design in Australian decimal coinage. The Queen's Royal Portrait. On the front or obverse of your coin is the second portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by the renowned artist Arnold Machin. This elegant bust shows the Queen wearing a tiara and facing to the right, with the legend, Elizabeth II, Australia 1980, wrapping around her. This specific portrait was used on Australian coins from 1966 until 1984, which immediately dates your coin to a very specific and collectible era of the Queen's long reign. Coins from this period are increasingly sought after by collectors specializing in the Machin portrait series. The metal that built it. The coin is made from a durable alloy of 75% copper and 25% nickel, giving it that distinctive silvery appearance and solid weight of 5.65 grams. This cupronickel composition was chosen for its hardness and resistance to wear, ensuring the coin could survive decades of jangling in pockets. This very durability means that well-preserved examples are less common. While the metal itself isn't valuable, the coin's pristine survival is what separates a 10-cent piece from a potential collectible worth many dollars. A minting giant. Here is the crucial piece of information that drives my optimism. The total mintage of the 1980 10-cent coin stands at a massive 55,600,000. On the surface, that number might seem too high for any coin to be valuable. However, in the world of numismatics, high mintage figures for a specific year can be deceptive. This volume means that while common circulated coins are plentiful, truly flawless, uncirculated examples are a needle in a haystack. The hunt for flawless specimens. The key to value is the coin's condition, known in the trade as its grade. The vast majority of those 55 million coins were released into circulation, where they were immediately subjected to wear, scratches, and dings. For a coin to be valuable, it needs to have survived the last 44 years in perfect, untouched condition. Finding a 1980 10-cent coin with full, original mint luster and no contact marks is becoming an increasingly difficult task for collectors. Your coin's current value. Let me give you the hard numbers. I won't give you false hope. A typical 1980 10-cent coin you find in your change is worth its face value, 10 cents. But we're not here for typical coins. An uncirculated coin taken directly from a mint roll can be worth around $4. That is already 40 times its face value. However, the real money begins at the highest levels of preservation. A professional grading service can certify a coin as proof or mint state, and the price climbs quickly. The real market sales. We have to look at actual sales data to understand the peak. A single 1980 proof 10-cent coin in exceptional condition has been sold for $29, but the ceiling is much higher. We have seen that a 1980 10-cent coin graded MS66 by PCGS, a top-tier grading service, has sold for significant premiums. Based on the market for high-grade decimal coins, a perfect, top-pop 1980 10-cent coin graded MS68 or higher could absolutely command a price between $100 and $200, or even more at a specialized auction. The true maximum value. So, what is the absolute maximum you could sell this coin for right now? I am confident that a 1980 Australian 10-cent coin, certified in perfect mint state 68 or proof 70 condition, can sell for up to $250 at auction. This price is driven by specialist collectors who are building complete date sets of Australian decimal coinage. They need the best of the best for their registry sets, and for a coin like this, they are willing to pay for the privilege. Don't forget the error coins. This is where the value can skyrocket. Look at your coin with a magnifying glass. The Royal Australian Mint occasionally makes mistakes, and these errors are worth a fortune. There are documented instances where a 1980 120-cent coin was mistakenly struck on a 10-cent blank. While rare, your 1980 10-cent coin could have a lamination error, a double strike, or an off-center error. A dramatic error on a 1980 10-cent coin could push its value into the hundreds or even thousands of dollars. The $3,300 inspiration. Asterisk for inspiration. Look at other 10-cent coins. A rare 1999 10-cent coin with a large head mintage error has been valued at up to $2.20, but that's nothing compared to the true gems. An extremely rare 10-cent coin from another year has been appraised for up to a staggering $3,300. This proves that the 10-cent denomination is a hotspot for high-value collectibles. Your 1980 coin sits right in the middle of this era, making it a prime candidate for being the next big discovery. The future value trajectory. Now for the question everyone wants answered. What is its future value? The future is incredibly bright. As we move further away from 1980 and from the era of Queen Elizabeth II's reign, these coins will become more historical and desirable. The supply of high-quality, uncirculated examples is fixed and will only decrease as coins are lost, damaged, or broken up from original rolls. Basic economics tells us that with a static supply and growing demand, the price will only go up. The silver lining, you might ask, but what about the fact that it's not silver? It doesn't matter. The value of this coin is not in its metal, it is purely numismatic. It is a collector's item, a piece of art, and a historical document. The metal value is zero, but the collector value is soaring. The copper-nickel alloy has preserved many coins, but the finest examples are the ones that will appreciate most dramatically over the next decade. Why 1980 is a key date? The year 1980 is a pivotal point. It falls right before the major design changes of 1985, where the Queen's portrait was updated. It is the tail end of the Machin portrait era, making it a target for collectors who want to complete that specific collection. The mintage of 55.6 million seems large, but when compared to the hundreds of millions minted in later years, it is actually a much scarcer coin than most people realize. A lesson in inflation. Consider this. The cumulative inflation rate in Australia between 1980 and today has been over 455%. 10 cents in 1980 had the purchasing power of nearly 56 cents today. Your coin has already held its value against inflation simply as currency. But as a collectible, its potential to outpace inflation is enormous. We are looking at an asset that could multiply in value hundreds of times over the coming decades, something few modern investments can guarantee. My price prediction. I will give you my firm prediction. In the next 10 years, a perfect, certified 1980 Australian 10-cent coin will be worth a minimum of $500. A coin with a significant, verifiable mint error from the same year will break the $5,000 barrier at a major auction house like Noble Numismatics. The foundation for this growth is already being laid by dedicated collectors in Australia, Europe, and North America. The British connection. The fact that the coin features Queen Elizabeth II adds a massive layer of global appeal. It is not just an Australian coin, it is a Commonwealth coin. Collectors in the United Kingdom, Canada, New Zealand, and across the former British Empire collect coins bearing the Queen's effigy. Her passing has cemented the historical significance of any coin with her portrait, instantly turning these coins into memorial collectibles with an international market. Motivation for the hunt. So here is my motivation to you. You absolutely must check your coin jars, your old purses, your car ashtrays, and every drawer in your house. Look for the 1980 date and look closely. Look for the hidden SD initials on the reverse. Check for the distinctive reeded edge. If you find one that looks like it just left the mint yesterday, or if you spot a weird doubling or a missing letter, you have just found an asset that could pay for a vacation or a major bill. The final investment case. This coin is the ultimate sleeper investment. It has a low entry price, massive upside potential, and a passionate collector base. While others chase after silver and gold, the smart money is building a portfolio of high-grade decimal coins. The 1980 10-cent coin is the perfect entry point. It is affordable, available, and carries with it the potential for explosive growth. You are the key. The value is not just in the coin, it is in your action. A professional collector will pay a premium for a coin that has never been cleaned or mishandled. Do not clean your coin with anything other than a rinse in distilled water. Do not rub it. Place it carefully in a non-PVC plastic flip to preserve its luster. The difference between a $4 coin and a $200 coin is simply how well you have protected it over the last 4 decades. The final call to action. Do not dismiss this coin as just a 10-cent piece. You are now informed. You know the mintage, the history, the design details, and the potential prices. You have the knowledge that 99% of the population does not have. This is your opportunity. Go through your change today. You could be holding a coin that is not just currency, but a ticket to a surprising payday. This is the 1980 Australian 10-cent coin, and it is truly a hidden treasure waiting to be found. Second coin, the 1983 Australian 10-cent coin featuring Queen Elizabeth II, is a true hidden gem. Do not ever dismiss this coin as ordinary pocket change, because right now it sits at a perfect point on the value curve that every serious collector looks for. It is not rare in the sense of being impossible to find, but the demand for high-quality examples is absolutely real and growing every single day. Let me first tell you exactly how many people want to buy this coin. The answer might surprise you. While I cannot give you an exact head count of buyers, I can tell you that the Australian coin collecting market is experiencing tremendous growth. In 2025, approximately 7.6 million Australians, or 35% of the adult population, are actively involved in collecting. That is over 7 million potential buyers who could be interested in your 1983 10-cent coin. The total collectibles market in Australia is now worth a staggering $16.8 billion. The coin collecting market in Australia is experiencing sustained interest and growth, driven by the passion of collectors and the intrinsic historical and cultural value of coins. The 2025 State of Collectibles report makes it clear that numismatics in Australia is growing both in popularity and in market value. Decimal coins like your 1983 10-cent piece are becoming increasingly popular as collectors look beyond pre-decimal rarities. This means the pool of buyers for your coin is expanding every year. Now let me answer the big question. What is its current value? The answer depends entirely on the condition of your specific coin. A typical circulated 1983 10-cent coin that you might find in your wallet is worth 10 cents as spending money. But we are not here to talk about pocket change. An uncirculated coin in mint state condition is worth between $2.30 and $7.40. A choice uncirculated example climbs to $13.40. A proof coin graded PR64 sells for $7.60. But the real excitement begins at the top end of the grading scale. A proof coin graded PR69 by PCGS can sell for $21.20, and the absolute maximum value for a perfect proof 1983 10-cent coin graded PR70 is an incredible $55.80. That is 558 times its face value. For a coin that started as 10 cents, turning it into nearly $56 is a remarkable return on investment. And this is just the beginning of the story. I need to tell you that the value of this coin is already high for a modern decimal coin. Many people overlook decimal coinage because they think only old coins are valuable. That is a massive mistake. The 1983 10-cent coin is valuable right now today in the current market. Its value is not a future prediction. It is a present reality. Collectors are actively seeking this specific year to complete their date sets of the Match and Portrait series. The history of this coin is absolutely fascinating. It was struck at the Royal Australian Mint in Canberra, which produced 82,318,000 10-cent pieces in 1983. That number sounds huge, but here is the critical detail. Most of those 82 million coins entered circulation immediately and have been jangling in pockets and purses for over 40 years. Finding one that has survived in perfect, untouched condition is genuinely difficult. The coin was built as part of Australia's decimal currency system, which was introduced on the historic date of February 14, 1966. The coin was built to replace the pre-decimal Australian shilling, as both coins were worth 1/20th of a pound. When Australia made the switch from pounds, shillings, and pence to dollars and cents, the 10-cent coin inherited the exact specifications of the old shilling. This is why the coin has the weight of 5.66 grams and a diameter of 23.6 millimeters. It was designed to feel familiar to Australians who were accustomed to the shilling. The coin is made from 75% copper and 25% nickel, giving it that distinctive silvery appearance and exceptional durability. The obverse of the coin features the second portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by the renowned artist Arnold Machin. The Queen is shown wearing the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland diamond tiara, a wedding gift from Queen Mary in 1947. This portrait was used on Australian coins from 1966 until 1984, which means your 1983 coin is from the very end of this beloved series. Collectors who specialize in the Match and Portrait era absolutely need the 1983 date to complete their collections. The reverse of the coin features the stunning lyrebird design created by the legendary artist Stuart Devlin. The lyrebird is shown facing left with its magnificent tail plumes expanded forward over its head. This design has remained unchanged on standard circulating 10-cent coins since 1966, making it the longest-running reverse design in Australian decimal coinage. Stuart Devlin's initials, SD, are hidden in tiny letters near the bird's foot. This small detail is something every collector looks for. The 1983 proof coin has a particularly interesting story. The Royal Australian Mint produced only 80,000 proof examples of the 10-cent coin in 1983. This limited mintage was a deliberate strategy by the Mint. By 1983, the Mint had realized that collector interest was in danger of collapsing if it did not introduce measures to limit release numbers. The mint reduced the number of proof sets available by 20% from the previous year. While not completely successful at first, these steps were in the right direction and were followed by further restrictions that ultimately revived collector interest in the Australian proof series. This historical context is crucial. The 1983 proof 10-cent coin was part of a turning point for Australian numismatics. The mint was learning how to balance collector demand with responsible production. The coins from this transitional period are now sought after by collectors who appreciate the history of the mint itself. Your 1983 10-cent coin is not just a piece of currency. It is a piece of Australian minting history. Now let me tell you about error coins. This is where the value can explode far beyond the numbers I have already given you. There are documented instances of Australian coins being struck on the wrong planchet, and these errors sell for enormous premiums. A 1984 $1 coin that was mistakenly struck on a 10-cent blank sold for a staggering $2,800 at auction. That was far higher than the auction house's estimate of $750. If your 1983 10-cent coin has any kind of mint error, such as a double strike, an off-center strike, or a lamination error, its value could be in the hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Do not sleep on the possibility of finding an error coin. Look closely at your 1983 10-cent coin with a magnifying glass. Check for any unusual markings, doubling of the letters or numbers, or anything that looks out of place. Even a tiny error can make a coin worth 1,000 times its face value. I have seen error coins from the same era with asking prices of $995, $2,490, and even $6,500. Your 1983 10-cent coin could be hiding that kind of value. Let me paint a picture of the maximum possible value for this coin. If you have a perfect 1983 proof 10-cent coin graded PR70 by PCGS, the maximum value right now is $55.80. But if that same coin has a rare and verifiable mint error, the value jumps to somewhere between $500 and $2,000 or more. If the error is particularly dramatic and unique, you could be looking at a $5,000 coin. This is not speculation. This is based on actual auction results for similar error coins from the same era. The future of this coin is even brighter. As we move further away from 1983, the supply of high-quality uncirculated and proof examples will only decrease. Coins get lost, damaged, or broken up from original sets every single year. The fixed supply of perfect coins continues to shrink while the number of collectors continues to grow. This is the most basic economic principle of supply and demand. As demand increases and supply decreases, the price must rise. I predict that within 10 years, a perfect PR70 1983 10-cent coin will be worth at least $200. The death of Queen Elizabeth II in September 2022 has added a new layer of significance to every coin bearing her portrait. Collectors around the world are now seeking coins from her reign as historical memorial pieces. Your 1983 10-cent coin is not just an Australian coin. It is a Commonwealth coin that appeals to collectors in the United Kingdom, Canada, New Zealand, and across the former British Empire. The international market for Elizabeth II coins has expanded dramatically, and this trend will only continue. Let me motivate you directly. You need to search every corner of your home for 1983 10-cent coins. Check your coin jars, your old wallets, your car, your drawers, and every forgotten purse in your closet. Look for the 1983 date and look closely at the condition. If you find a coin that looks like it just left the mint yesterday, with full original luster and no scratches or marks, you have found a coin worth real money. If you find any coin that looks unusual or different from normal, you might have found an error worth a fortune. Do not clean your coin. This is the most important advice I can give you. Cleaning a coin destroys its numismatic value. Collectors want coins with original surfaces and natural patina. If you rub or polish your coin, you will turn a $55 coin into a 10-cent coin instantly. Simply place your coin carefully in a non-PVC plastic flip to protect it from further damage. Handle it only by the edges and never touch the faces of the coin with your bare fingers. The 1983 Australian 10-cent coin is a perfect example of a modern coin that has already achieved collectible status and will only grow in value. Its history is tied to the introduction of decimal currency, the reign of Queen Elizabeth II, and a pivotal moment in the Royal Australian Mint's approach to proof sets. Its current value ranges from face value to nearly $56 for perfect examples, and potentially thousands for error coins. Its future value is limited only by the continued growth of the numismatic market. You now have the knowledge that 99% of the population does not have. You know the mintage figures, the grading values, the error possibilities, and the market trends. This knowledge is your power. Use it to search your change, to examine your old coins, and to recognize the hidden treasure that might be sitting in your pocket right now. The 1983 Australian 10-cent coin is not just valuable, it is a genuine opportunity. Go find your fortune today.